Hey, welcome to the Wood and Metal Shop. You know, I've said this before, that not every project goes to plan. Well, that's the case with this one right here. This is my second attempt at filling this with resin, and why I didn't fill in the first part, I don't know. But I also know how Doug feels at Pole Barn Productions. When you pour resin into a blank and it disappears, that's what happened. So, here goes my second attempt. Well, like I said, this is my second attempt. Normally what I do is I will use this foil tape to cover up any cracks and seal the cracks and then pour the resin. And normally that works really well, but for some reason this time it didn't. So what happened was it started leaking out of the bottom where I had foil tape on everything, and leaking out of the side right through the tape and everything. So, but not all of the resin came out. I think there's still quite a bit of resin left inside too. So this is my second attempt. I'm going to pour more resin in. I've filled this all up with 5-minute epoxy on the side and all along the bottom as well to seal it up. It shouldn't leak through that. So here goes. I'm going to mix in some metallic emerald and a couple of drops of just a alcohol-based ink as well. I'm going to mix this all up, but I'm not going to bore you with that. And when I'm done mixing, I'll start pouring. I'll come back when I start pouring. I didn't want to film the mixing process of this for a couple of reasons. One, it took a long time to mix, and two, I'm using an older batch of System 3 resin, which is just a bar top resin, and the Part A is actually really thick, thicker than molasses, so it takes a little bit longer to mix up, but once it's mixed, it's fine. So here goes. I'm going to start pouring this in slowly. Well, that did not take very much resin. I knew most of it did not leak out through the tape. Most of it was actually absorbed. So that's ready to go into the pressure pot. Let's see how this turned out. Okay, I've got a couple of voids still. Could be for a couple of reasons. One, the resin was a little thick and it could have had an air bubble trapped in there or something like that. Or there could have just been another void in there as well that it just filled in. But I'm kind of thinking it was just air bubbles, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to throw a faceplate on this, determine which way I'm going to turn this, either end grain or side grain. So I decided I'm going to make this an end grain bowl. I was going to put a faceplate on this side, but I want to get this part in here on the side of the bowl as opposed to the bottom of the bowl. So I'm going to put a 6-inch faceplate on there, and because it's an odd shape, I have to kind of estimate as to where the center is. make the bowl too small, but I'm going to just play with it and see what I come up with. I want to try and keep this in here. There's a void right there. Look at that. Well, I'm going to have to fill that in a bit and fill this in. I want to shape this down just a little bit more, make this a little more rounded over, and then I'm going to flatten the bottom. Alright, I put a reverse tenon on the bottom. I'm going to start sanding, but I'm not going to go too much into detail on that. Just using my favorite lacquer, Watco Clear Gloss. Kind of caught there and then it just tore up this edge. Oh well, I guess it's a design change now. Probably caught somewhere in this here. And alright, just have to turn that down and keep on going. Okay, I think that's about as far as I want to go down. I'm just going to take a scraper and kind of flatten out the bottom. Everything else seems to be okay. There's a little bit of a ridge right here, but the scraper should take care of that. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm not going to reduce the walls anymore. It's a little soft and punky, so if I play around with it even more, chances are it's going to crack. Like there is a crack here, but that's the one that I filled in earlier. So everything else can be taken care of with sandpaper. And I'm just going to clean up this edge again. Well, there it is, completely done. Turned out really nice. I'm really happy the way that spalting looks in this bowl. Like, maple, when it spalts, can produce some really nice colors, like especially that red. It's just amazing. Goes right through. It just really complements with the green in there. Even though this part here is not the same color as this, but it kind of goes together really well because it's all kind of different colors of green in there. So very impressed the way it turned out. I cut off the video really early on the finishing because finishing the inside of the bowl is basically the same thing as finishing the outside of the bowl. I sanded it, sealed it, and then sprayed a few coats of lacquer, and then all I did with this is polish the inside to 1500 grit and the outside to 1500 grit. And that's about it. This bowl was a little difficult to turn because it is end grain. It's kind of an end grain and side grain because I think this is either a crotch or a branch that grew together. And that's why there was this, I wouldn't say really a crack. It was more the way the tree grew together. So, like I said, turned out really good. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment or a question below if you have any questions. And you know the rest of it. Subscribe, social media, and all that kind of stuff. So Until the next time, take care.